to the KD pod. Today we're talking NBA talk. Back with the big fella himself, Mike Gow. What's going on, Mikey?
What's going on, man?
So today we are talking about the NBA draft. Our favorite time of year. We love, scouting and projecting prospects. And this is our first one of the 2022 NBA draft. So today we're going to be doing a mock top 10 where we go back and forth, starting with Mikey as the GM of the Orlando Magic, and me, as the GM of the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we're just going to go back and forth from there. So a little context to this draft. Mike, do you like this draft? Do you see depth? Do you see top-end talent? What do you see with this draft, real quick?
So it's definitely not like the LaMelo year where there's clearly a couple, it's going to be like superstars. This year's draft, I think is pretty shallow, but I feel like there could be some like good player that they can develop like later in the draft. But like the top 3 pick this year, I don't think is like that high, in level compared to like a couple prior drafts. That's my personal like.
So more depth and less, difference between. It's not really like there's a 4-person draft and that's it, and then it drops off a cliff. It's a little more stratified. I could agree to that totally. So let's just get straight into it. What do you say? You're on the clock.
On the clock, Orlando Magic. It's gonna be pretty. Like a lot of people have a clear option, but I don't like that. So I think I'm gonna take Jabari Smith for my first pick, and I think to pair up with Cole Anthony. So right now, the couple main pieces that have Cole Anthony, Mo Wagner, and maybe Wendell Carter.
Mm-hmm.
And they need this power forward that can stretch the floor, can shoot, can play defense, smart with the ball. Jonathan Isaac, who knows? He haven't played in 3 years.
Great point. Yep.
And he's not as good of a shooter as Jabari Smith. He's a better defender when he's healthy. But Jabari Smith is a really developed offensive player, and he can read the defense. He can, he's 6'10", so he can shoot over people. But also he can give you the pump fake, lift fake, one dribble pull-up, right? So that's like a really dynamic wing piece that they really need, I believe.
I like that. I like Jabari Smith a lot. My thing with him is I see him in interviews and he just looks so young. Like he looks like he's 17 years old, man. It's crazy, but he's 6'11", and he just tore up the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be a spectacular player. I just think he needs to be in the right organization. And if looking at him in Orlando, man, I don't know. I see Isaac, Wagner, Carter, Bamba, Okiki. I see all these pieces that are kind of the same as him, these big power forward, center-ish wings, forwards who can theoretically do all these guard skills. I just hope he doesn't get lost. Like a perfect example is another dude right on their team is Jalen Suggs. If he gets picked 4th to Toronto, he is all rookie team, first team, no doubt. He's playing significantly better than he did on Orlando. So we'll see, because they have a bunch of guards and a bunch of forwards, and
who knows what they're doing.
Exactly. So okay, we got Jabari Smith going number 1 to Orlando. All right, on the clock now is OKC. I've gone through the teams that I'm gonna be the GM for, and what's their fit. OKC, it's been the same as it'll be for the next 3 years, and it has already been for the previous 3 years, which is just draft and the biggest and highest upside player possible. Take a swing, best player available. And for me, that's Chet Holmgren, easily. He is essentially a
Juiced up
soup.
Poku.
Yes, exactly. he's a souped up real deal Poku. And that's perfect for OKC. They love those type of players, kind of the unicorn, super high upside. And I like Chet. I think his defense, if anything, has the potential to be, almost like a Robert Williams. His length, his timing, his mobility, his ability to switch on defense. Those are enough skills by themselves to put him as a top 5 pick, honestly. Sure, his frame is really small, is really thin frame. But then you just look at his offensive game, and I think he was one of those guys who was a little stymied in college. He didn't really get to showcase everything he could do. He didn't really get to be that offensive player that we saw in high school. Bring the ball up the court, hitting a hezzy crossover, and diming someone with behind the back pass. Like, we never really got to see that. And that's exactly what the NBA is for. So Chet Holmgren coming to OKC.
Makes sense.
What do you think?
So right now their foundational piece is Giddey, Shea. So they're playmakers. And right now, I think OKC with their front court is kind of thin, right? With like the center position, power forward position. You got Isaiah Roby, you got Jeremiah Robinson Earl. It's like none of them's gonna be like Chet Holmgren level player. And Chet showcased his length to like protect the rim. So you can put him at small forward, like Lauri Markkanen, or you can put him at the 5. So it's like really versatile.
Yeah.
Right? And they can do a lot with, they can sign free agents with like power forward, small forward position, and they already have Lou Dort. So what Chet gives them like a more, like well-rounded roster, I believe. Too. So I think that's perfect for like OKC too.
Couldn't agree more. Now we have on the clock H-Town, the Rockets
Houston.
at 3.
So Houston, I got Paolo Banchero. That's the top 3 clearly. So gotta pick Paolo Banchero, and I think that's Houston's objective too, is to pick the best player available. And who knows what Christian Wood is like doing, because a couple of years ago we talked about it, and then we think it's a great contract, but we didn't like underestimate like the personal side of players. And I've heard he's got, issues with the team and all that. So I think Houston might be looking to trade Christian Wood for some assets, and Paolo Banchero could fit right in. And as a young player to pair with Jalen Green that can finish, that have a variety of different ways to score on the offensive end. And just as my personal comparison for Paolo Banchero, it's like a more advanced PJ Washington, and can really just come in and play. And yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I really think the top 3, they could, I think Chet, I don't know. Chet could go 1, maybe, but I really think this top 3 is pretty set. I like Paulo a lot. I like him a lot. I think he's got the work ethic, he's got the motor, he's got all the tools. His jumper looks better and better. And I think he works really hard, and with the physical tools he has, it's great. My only question is the fit. Again, it's the fit with Houston. With 2 guards in Green and Porter, and then you have Schroeder and Christopher. Kind of just all your guards are really, kind of shoot first guards. And then I think Paolo's kind of a shoot first power forward. I don't really see the flow in this team. I don't really see where the ball is moving as much as it should. But I think they don't really have a good power forward or small forward for them. He's going to step in and get a lot of minutes. It's just, what role is he going to embrace? Is he going to come in and think he's going to score 20 points a game? Because if he's going to do that, he's going to be frustrated. He's not going to get the shots, and who knows what happens. But I think if he comes in embracing energy and defense off the rip and then lets the offense come to him, I think there's the mold where you have Houston as an exciting young team with Jalen Green, Bonchero, and whoever else they have around them, whoever's left. I think that's a really good core. So Paulo's great player. It's about fit.
Alfred Sengun.
Şengün. Yeah, I question that fit too, because they're both kind of undersized. Is Şengün gonna play the 5? I don't know. Is Paulo gonna play the 4 or the 3 or the 5? Who knows?
Yeah.
I want to see that fit for sure. Okay, Paulo to Houston at 3. Now I'm on the clock with Sacramento, and this is where we ask ourselves: is it Jaden Ivey? Is that the right fit, or is it someone else? It's kind of one player or everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Sacramento, Jaden Ivey is someone who's going to be spectacular if you give him the ball. He needs the ball. If he's playing off the ball, I think he could struggle. He's not going to, he can be a good cutter theoretically, but that's not what you want him to do. You want him to be explosive with the ball. He can be a playmaker, but you want him with the ball going downhill. And I don't really like that. In Sacramento, you already have De'Aaron Fox, Davion Mitchell, and then even if you push him to the 2, you have Dante DiVincenzo and Justin Holiday and Jeremy Lamb, kind of just this gluttony of 1s and 2s. And you look at their wings with Trey Lyles and Harrison Barnes, and there's just not a lot of defense there, right? So this is where I'm going to take a personal pick, and I'm going to go with AJ Griffin out of Duke. 6'6" small forward, freshman, really young for his age, really, really young, like reclassed up to go to Duke. He was slow to start the season because, man, did Duke have some talent. They had a lot of talent, a lot of talent. But if you look at his shooting splits, as I look them up real quick, he was shooting 40% from 3, easily, and his form looks really good. And then you look at him attack off the dribble, and his handle is low, and you can see all the skill sets there. He shot 45% from 3, playing 24 minutes a game. He shot 45, 49, and can't see the free throws. But that's exactly the shooting that NBA teams love out of a strong and long 6'6" small forward. My comparison for him, as we were talking about this earlier, is Jimmy Butler. But it's Jimmy Butler who can shoot 44% from 3. Wow. Now there's like upside that's talking, all NBA type upside right there. So that's who I'm picking. Any thoughts on AJ Griffin?
Yeah, I do agree they need a wing. That's for sure. Right? They already got their foundation stone against Fox and Sabonis. Right? They need something in between to bridge it off, to, open up the floor to do other things to play defense. And AJ Griffin does that, but does he have Jimmy Butler's mentality and mindset to be better than the Duke self? It's like averaging 10 points, 9 points. But that doesn't, that doesn't affect how, like the stats don't tell how good of a player AJ is. And you can see from a lot of other prospects like Scotty Barnes from last year, he averaged like 8 points at Florida State, right? So college and pro is different. So if AJ Griffin gets the ball, he's shown the ability to shoot the ball, catch and shoot, to stretch out the floor for De'Aaron Fox to attack the basket, for Sabonis to post up, to cut, you know. So like he's that type of player that the Kings needed. And I think, yeah, that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I like that. I don't think that's really a consensus. I think that gives us a little differentiation. We're not just reading off some mock drafts we found online. So yeah. All right, AJ to Sacramento. On the clock now, we got the Detroit Pistons.
So what I have in my mock draft at Shaden Sharp going to Kings. But now with the Detroit Pistons, I think, Shaden Sharp is this player. I know a lot of people have questioned him, played a game, whatever, but he's got so much upside. And I know everybody looks like a Hall of Famer to go up against those chairs at the draft camp. But the guy really looks like, if you're the Detroit Pistons, you want to, throw the dice and take a bet here. He could be either a really superstar player, or he can be not as developed and not as, mature as you think. But his tools are there. He's a 6'6" shooting guard, and his shot looks really smooth. And if you pair that up, so he's like a scoring first guard, wing, whatever player. And if you pair that up with Cade Cunningham, who's a playmaker that can score the ball when needed, I think that's a really good, duel in the backcourt. Or Shaden Sharp shooting and open up for other options. And you got Sadiq Bey on the wing, and I think that's pretty exciting. But there's risk to it. But I think it's a good risk to have. Absolutely. For the Pistons.
That's a great pick. I think I would do the same thing. If this is the way it played out. I saw his measurements, 6'11" wingy. That pushes him. That really turns on a lot of GMs out there. That turns him into like a combo guard can guard a three, can guard bigger positions. And I really think that's the best fit too in Detroit at this spot. I don't know what they're going to do with Jeremy Grant, but he's kind of your big contract. Like, why not pay him it? But they already have some solid, bigger wings like Sadiq Bey, who they like, who I think is really good, and Jeremy Grant. And then that kind of relegates Killian Hayes to like a backup point guard, which I think is kind of his best position right now. And then you said it all. You have a playmaker and then your scorer. And I think Shaden Sharp has the potential to be, a really, he's unknown, but he has a lot of potential, and he was a super high recruit for a reason. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes and how his career plays out. Absolutely. So with the 5th pick, Mikey's got Shaden Sharp going to Detroit. Now I'm on the clock with the Indiana Pacers at number 6. Here, I think this is the most set in stone pick of the draft. The fit makes so much sense, and there's so many connections here. But I have Keegan Murray going to Indiana at 6. I've heard murmurs of him going to Indiana. I've seen mocks of him going to Indiana for months and months and months. And, I was never the biggest fan of him. I always thought he was a little stiff, a little like, is he kind of just an undersized version of Jabari Smith, or is he more dynamic than that? And then I watched a little bit more of his highlights, and I'm like, wow, this guy can not only triple threat from the high post, up fake, rip, get to the rim, but he can also up fake, rip, get to the rim, jump stop, up fake again, reverse pivot, and then hit a fadeaway jumper. Like that's step 7 of the plan from a big guy who wants to be able to shoot. And that's an advanced skill set, which I think it'll fit perfectly in Indiana. They're in desperate need of some wings who can move and play defense. They pretty much gutted their team and chose Miles Turner over Sabonis, which who knows how that'll play out. But you look at their roster and they got Buddy Hield playing the 3. Like Buddy Hield can't even guard a 2 or a 1. Like how is he supposed to guard 3s? So I like him in there at a forward spot. And I think he fills a lot of needs that Indiana needs. So yeah, what do you think about Keegan Murray? Dude at Iowa.
40.2% from 3 last season. That's it. Really good player.
Gotcha. Yeah, and he's one of those dudes we're going to see a lot of those dudes in this draft, actually. Second-year guys who made, sophomores who made big leaps from their freshman year. Had the tools, maybe underperformed, but then really had a jump. We see it in Ivy, Keegan Murray. We're going to see it in a couple other players in this draft. NBA teams love that. Love to see that development. Love to see that, that growth. So, all right, Keegan Murray to Indiana at 6. Now, Mikey, you're back on the clock with the Trailblazers at 7.
I have no clue what they're doing right now, too. They're the messiest team in the NBA right now, for sure. But I don't know what Damian Lillard will compete as next year. It's like he hasn't played this whole year, and they got this Ann Simons thing going on. It's like, oh, he's been playing pretty well. And
they're probably going to pay him.
From there, and then it's Nurkic, and in between, it's just a mess. I don't even want to see it. I don't know half the team, right? Like, remember Greg Brown? Like, he's playing, like, big minute now. But for this spot, as I mentioned earlier, I love Johnny Davis, and I want to put Johnny Davis in there as the 2 or the 3, as this two-way threat that can take out the load of the offensive end a little bit from Dame, but also help off on the defensive end on the in the backcourt that like can guard position of 1 to 3. So pretty developed, player, Big Ten Player of the Year, and I think he'll fit right in as a play now type of player instead of like developing type of player. And the mindset, mentality is there also. As you see him play, like the effort that he gives, like he cared about the game, and I feel like that's the correct spirit to have and the culture to build in Portland right now.
Yeah, his skill set is, everyone's going to stare at that 29% from 3 this past season at Wisconsin. Everyone's going to be talking about that. I think it's an anomaly. I think this dude is actually a really, really talented scorer and an offensive creator. He reminds me, not really the athleticism, but he reminds me of Donovan Mitchell in terms of his frame and his ability to be crafty off the dribble and create a 3-point shot. I think he's really good. It's just about, I haven't really looked into his defense. You say you can play it, but I'm not really sure. Not sure if the wingspan's there to be able to guard threes, honestly. That would be my question. And then with Dame and Simons and Johnny Davis, where's the defense coming from? Where's the defense there? Is that just another CJ McCollum coming in and they're going to run into the same problems?
Johnny Davis is really good. Like one of the prospect report, like one of the big strengths is on ball defense. So that's the only reason why I picked it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think they got to make a decision then with Dame and because there's a lot of guards at this point in the draft. It's just a ton of guards. Do they go Jalen Duran or something? Do they try to get a big, a versatile athletic big to kind of get off of Nurkic's slow behind? Who knows? But okay. I like Johnny Davis. So we got him going 7 to Portland. Now on the clock, I think the most pivotal team here, probably the best team out of this top 10. I don't know whose pick they got. I wonder who they got this from. Maybe the Lakers. The Lakers. They got it from the Lakers. Wow. The Lakers could use this pick. They could use this pick, man. That's a whole topic right there. Is this turnaround? It's almost like the Celtics turnaround. Everyone couldn't even watch the Celtics play. They were so disgusting in the way they're losing games for the last 2 years. And then magically, the energy shifted and they turned it around. Now everything's amazing for them. Very similar to what's been happening here in New Orleans with their GM, David Griffin. The last 2 years with this Zion stuff, everyone, including myself, is like, what has this man been doing? Like, you get Steven Adams can't shoot, you get Eric Bledsoe can't shoot, you get all these players who can't space the floor around Zion, and they've been nothing but disappointing. But yet this year, they get CJ, and they get that guard who can create his own shot and actually score 30 for you. Herbert Jones has been a huge revelation for them. You got, 6'9", Jose Alvarado, great draft pick as well. Jonas Valanciunas can hit corner threes, so he's kind of that spacing 5-man. They really flipped their roster around. And really the only thing they need is a little bit more shooting and a little bit more, almost I would say like guard depth. It's really just CJ and then Jose. And we'll wait on Kira Lewis to come back. But, it was Herb playing the 2, and Herb is not a 2. He's just defensively can do that. So I have New Orleans taking Benny Mathurin out of Arizona. Benny, he's a 6'6", wing player who has had this, again, another huge leap from his freshman year. And he's got that dog, that grit, that bite your lip and go at your chest type of mentality. And I think he's got a lot of upside. I think he would be amazing with almost any team, really. But especially if he comes into a team who has a need in his role where he could get a lot of playing time, I think he could be a really good player. It's just about, is he willing to be the 5th best player on the court? Who knows? We'll see. But that's my pick, Benedict Mathurin to New Orleans at 8. Any thoughts?
I think you're right. Guard depth, all that. Agreed. I'll move on. You probably pretty much said everything, about the roster. No.
Bet. Okay. Now we got San Antonio at 9.
Yeah, another team with Keldon Johnson at the power forward. It's just
so many wings.
I like every year we do this. can never guess what the Spurs is doing in the draft.
Yep.
They can draft this random like European player this year. It's like Jovic. They can draft him, but they can
Yep.
draft like somebody like Josh Primo. Completely don't get that. Last year, it's like, who is this guy? And he didn't do anything, right? So
Yeah. He was playing for them a lot. Honestly, he was starting a lot of games at the end of the year.
I know,
Granted, they weren't
but
very good, but
I'm not a fan of that guy. And they have like plenty of guards, and I don't know what their plan is. But right now on the board, let's see, Jay and Ivy's still not off the board, but I don't think
oh my
I don't
god,
think
I
I don't
forgot.
not, but I'm not picking him because Ivy and Murray's not going to be a good fit together. But to be something, put a little fun in there. If I'm the Spurs GM, I'm picking Mark Williams.
That's what I was gonna do too. That's exactly the
Yeah,
same thing I was gonna do.
Mark Williams. You see his videos and like the measurements.
Measurements,
It
bro.
looks ridiculous. It's
And it's not like
ridiculous.
he's a stiff anyway. He like
No,
has touch and skill.
he can shoot. He can shoot 5 for 9 from jump shots 5 for 9. Small sample size in college, but he can shoot the ball. His shot looks smooth, and his standing reach is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's touching the rim basically.
Yeah. So this shot blocker lob threat maybe stretch 5 potential, maybe stretch 5 potential. It'll be pretty dope for the Spurs, I think, to pair with DeJounte Murray and at least have some defense rather than Jakob Porto, right? Better defense, a lot better defense. And yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. I think Mark Williams, he's been a huge unknown this whole year. He's kind of this secret weapon that Duke had. That it's hard, big old secret weapon. But you hear people you see his measurements, you see 7'2", 7'9" wingspan, and you think he's going to be as Rudy Gobert, you can't even give him the ball in offense type player, right? But he's got touch and skill, like I mentioned. He can pass the ball a little bit. He's got a little floater. The jump shot actually looks like fluid, like you were talking about. So I think he's got a lot of potential. He's kind of what he makes up for in size and skill, maybe Jalen Duran makes up for in athleticism and motor. So it's kind of just where you want to pick your center at this point. If you're looking for a center, it's pretty much between those two. But I like that pick. Is it a San Antonio type pick? Hell no. Do I think they're going to do that? Probably not. But I like it. I think it makes sense. Okay. So the last pick, you just reminded me that Jaden Ivey's still on the board.
He's perfect.
What the hell? He's perfect. He's perfect. The only thing I saw on their depth chart that they needed was a point guard. That's it. They have no point guard. You can't be starting Raul Neto for 72 games and expect to make the playoffs. And I think it's such a perfect fit. They need a point guard. He's that special point guard. If I was him, maybe I move up and try to get him. I think that would be a really smart move. But man, we have him dropping all the way to 10. It's just because we're going for fit, man. That's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No.
He might go 2. I don't know. He might go somewhere else. But
I think there's other teams that should be trading out to get him. Definitely.
Like maybe New York or something, or I don't know.
Pelicans?
The Pels, maybe. I mean, I could have taken him at 8, with the Pelicans. That would have made a lot of sense too. But I kind of like CJ at the point and then playing a lot of bigger players. That kind of messed a lot of teams up at the end of the year. Jackson Hayes at the 4. But for Washington, again, they don't really have a point guard, and then they have Brad Beal and a like a slurry of wings, um, with Denia Vidya and Kispert and KCP and Kuzma and all these kind of above average wing players. And then they have these kind of big forward types like Rui and Gafford and Chris Tapps. So they got a lot to figure out with their roster. But if they can get a good point guard like Ivy, I could easily see them being 7-8 seed next year. So yeah, that'll conclude it. We got Jaden Ivey going 10 to Washington. There we have it. Our top 10, our early top 10 of the 2022 NBA draft. All right. So we're gonna close that book, and then we're gonna open this book up real quick. Mikey, we talked about J-Law, right? We've talked about that in a podcast before. But you just started. You are still week 1, right? Week two, excuse me, week 2. And you're working with some names.
Mm-hmm.
How is it? Talk to me about it.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like you see like insider, how they work pre-draft, what they do, what their plan is every day, like how the business work, and meet a lot of different people. I met a lot of different people for the past week and a half, right? One guy, it's like the floater prince, Dyson Daniels, right? Potential top 10 pick, right? Guy is funny as hell, right? And then like a couple other players in the draft. I don't know if you know this guy, Luke Travers, Australian guy too.
Yeah, I've been saying about him. Yep.
Luke Travers.
Guy.
My favorite guy, Rossier Bolton from Gonzaga. Jordan Usher, a couple other dudes. It's like you just see like the pro workouts, and that's like a lot different than your high school, college workouts, right? And then what they be teaching, and like the process. It's really fascinating, and then it's been great so far, I think. Right.
Absolutely. That's so cool. And you were mentioning it to me earlier. You're saying just like being there, the amount of interactions that are going on, you're going to have so many opportunities to just build connections with people you never thought you would meet before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And,
I was talking with this guy. Yeah, I was talking with this guy. His name is Pat. Used to play at Kobe. And I've been actually following him on TikTok, Chinese TikTok, for a while. He's like the trainer for a CBA team for like a year or two before before COVID hit. And this guy was like dunking from the free throw line in his videos, and like he works really hard and all that. And like legit, it was like the second or third day I got there, saw this guy. I was like, "Aren't you that guy?" And then we started talking. He's like, "Yeah, we gotta grab food sometimes." It's like surreal. It's like some people you never thought you would meet just sat next to you and want to start a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And these type of like environments, it's like everybody, like we get each other. We know what we're talking about. And
I couldn't think of a better person to drop into a situation like this. Like, not only are you 6'10", like, sure, let's give you that and put it to the side real quick. That gives you enough, attention right away. But man, you got such amazing humility. Like, you could talk to anyone and you're going to be the same way to everyone. And that is such a amazing skill to be able to possess. And it's such a skill that everyone loves. And if you sprinkle a little basketball in with everything, which, obviously if we're talking like this, you know a little bit about, man, you're gonna make so many connections. And like I've said before, it's gonna be such a great thing. But is it driving you nuts that you're not getting paid?
I thought it would, but it's actually been pretty good so far. Way better than I thought it would be because just the people I've been working with is fantastic. And also, you know, yeah. And then
I
it's
know, I
given,
know.
yeah, I know. And there's one player you want to work with, but
Oh yeah.
but um he's giving me like a Sunday. It's like $150 just to sit there right now. So that's and I'm doing like training on the side. So I kind of, you know, pays my few like gas
Hmm.
and but like the experience there, it's like first couple days pretty hard trying to learn everything, trying to know people. But recently it's like I'm just talking straight shit with these pros. It's like I'm gonna lock you down. I'm gonna lock you up. Right. And I'm like since day one, Dyson Daniels came back from the combine. I'm like, I'm on your ass, man. And
Yeah,
he's like, all right, like, he's talking crap with me. I'm talking crap with him. It's mutual. And yeah, it's been fun. It's been really fun.
that's awesome. I'm really looking forward to hearing more about it as you continue to meet new people and keep doing this. So man, that's
Mhm.
awesome. So all right, that's where we're gonna wrap it up today. We had our NBA draft talk and then a little bit of Mike Gow and J Law B ball at the end. So this has been a little bit of NBA talk on the KD pod, and I'm out.